actual videoing going on, right? All right, so today's workshop is all about cooking with essential oils, right? And I'm going to try to be also respectful and mindful of y'all's time, but as you all know, I like to talk. But do definitely interrupt me if you need to, if you have any questions, because we're going to be talking about not only how essential oils help enhance our food, but how important our food and our foundation and all that stuff is. As I've shared before, remembering our lifestyle pyramid of eating healthy, right? Not about right, because we're not moralizing food, but about eating high vibration, exercise, rest, and managing our stress, reducing our toxin load. Those are all super important pillars for our health, and the essential oils, they just really help enhance all those pillars, right? So why would we cook with essential oils? To add flavor. They're really great internally. They have benefits when we use them internally. They're safe and they're natural, especially when we're using doTERRAs, because they've been rigorously tested, right, by the third party. And it's convenient. I mean, I have lemon and lime always available because I like the pulp from lemon and lime, but then I don't have to freak if I don't happen to have them because I've got my lemon oil, or my lime, that says lime, oil. And on top of it, I am getting it like compacted, right? A gazillion of these, in one drop. So I'm getting the therapeutic properties of lime. And when we look up in our resource books, we're able to always see what are all of the, the support that each of the oils will do for us. So we're going to start out with, how many of you like grapefruit?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to first have you taste this grapefruit bubbly water. Yes. So we're going to do some grapefruit bubbly water. And then we're going to make our own grapefruit bubbly water, and you're going to compare. So it's going to help you see how not only with the oils you're getting the therapeutic property, but you're also saving because you're not going and buying cases of this, right? So the water machine that I have is this Bonnie whatever. I like it because it has these little discs that, which sometimes they're not full, they break up on me. But the discs I can order through Amazon or anywhere and not have to worry about getting my canisters refilled and stuff like that. I'm trying to figure out, couponing and all that stuff, because when we want our bubbly water, we want our bubbly water, right? So I'm going to put it over here. Fill this up. What's super cool is this machine is kind of quiet. But even if you don't have bubbly water, just putting in the water itself. But I really like this one. And this machine I think cost me only $100, and it has saved me a lot. And what's cool is you can actually add more of the disc if you want to. Like you can do a disc and a half, and it'll make it even bubblier. So I'm going to get that going. So there is that. So cooking with essential oils is safe, right? There is historical use and evidence. They're part of our diet. If you think about how many citrus oils we have, how many herbs and spices, this is just 6 of my herbs and spices that I have that I now don't have to have in my cabinet. Part of the problem with herbs and spices is that they lose their potency when they're dried and left in the cabinet. Also, they use their flavor. One of the really great ones that I love using is cilantro. If you'll pass this around, You can smell the freshness of the cilantro. And if you like cilantro, you know, I don't know if any of you have ever had dried cilantro. I think it's a horrific taste. It does not bring out the true flavor of cilantro. And fresh cilantro, you know, you have to, when you buy it, you have to use it up within a day, 2 days, 3 days tops. And so, yeah, so being able to have my cilantro, because I love cilantro, is really helpful and beneficial. All right, so high quality, well-tested essential oils, we know, is super important to be able to consume. Essential oils that should not be used internally are arbor vitae, cedarwood, cypress, Douglas fir, eucalyptus, spikenard, white fir, and wintergreen. I'm sure you can see a pattern of most of those are woods, right? One of the exceptions of woods is frankincense is consumable. As a matter of fact, I do. Drop under my tongue every morning. There's my butter. 2 drops every evening. I actually put it in my coffee or my tea sometimes, whisk it up. I use my emulsifier. And what that's doing is it's helping with the cellular repair. It's making sure that my body is constantly working on its cells. Frankincense is considered an enhancement oil, meaning that it kind of boosts. Like, so whatever you combine it with, it's going to boost that other oil. And there's a funny little saying, that a lot of people say, when in doubt, frankincense out. And it really and truly is, you know, it's kind of funny, you know, and in the sense of people say, oh, you know, it can't truly be the go-to for everything. And it really, you know, it is, because it's constantly wanting our cells to do what it's supposed to be doing and to repair and all that stuff. So things to remember, though, with essential oils is that essential oils in heat, cookware, and measuring tips. So with heat, if possible, we want to add the essential oil at the end of the cooking process, as the oils will evaporate with heat. So it's not that there were thoughts that they go rancid or they'll go bad, it changes the molecular structure. It's not that. It's no different than, let's say I'm going to take my tangerine. No, I'm going to take my bergamot. So I'm going to take my bergamot, and I'm going to put a drop in my hand. From the moment it drops till it gets to the hand, it's evaporating. That's why when we use it with a carrier oil, it actually holds in 100% of its property. Whereas when you drop it neat, which most of the oils we can use neat, especially in a pinch, right? Or when you're really wanting to be able to get the full effect of the oil, you know, then you want it neat. But knowing that it will evaporate and it will have some, you know, loss of its properties. So it's the same concept of that. With heat, it loses some of its properties, so you may have to use a little bit more. And we'll talk about that. And everything that I'm talking here too, there's a really cool ebook that I will be sending to you guys in an email. All right. So now, Josephine, if you will go around and pour this for everyone, so they can taste the difference. I didn't add the grapefruit. I just realized that. So we're going to rebubble it. So I put 3 drops. That's hilarious. Oh.
You noticed right away.
Well, I thought about it. I was thinking, I don't remember the process of actually putting, you know, in. So normally the disc is a one-time disc and all that stuff, but since it's already bubbled, it should not have a problem. But we'll let it try, kind of mixes it up a little bit more. Real life, right? So things we want to avoid when we're cooking with oils is we want to avoid plastic, because what happens is the essential oils could potentially ruin the plastic, but it also will, plastic is absorbent and it's porous and it's toxic, and we just don't want anything to do with it. So using glass, ceramic, stainless steel, stuff like that is super important. Now we're going to talk about measurements. So again, super potent, right? So there is the toothpick method, especially with the hot oils. So like oregano is super strong, super potent. So using a toothpick and getting it on the toothpick, and it's interesting because you'll think, oh, how could that possibly do enough work? But you're going to see, I'm going to make some vinaigrettes here in a moment, and you're going to see how just the toothpick method alone for oregano is super, good and enough. Now, if you really, really like oregano, maybe half a drop, a whole drop, but I would, with oregano and, I don't know if it's thyme or basil that I was noticing. It's thyme. So thyme, I would also do a toothpick method. But it's one of those things is, it's an adventure, and you figure out what is most of the oils, like the citruses, 1 drop, 2 drop, depending on the dish, how large and all that stuff. What is really super handy is what we want to do is having a carrier with the oils before we even use it on the food. So therefore 1 drop doesn't go to just one piece of the food and it doesn't disperse properly. So real quick, our potent essential oils are basil, cassia, which is a form of cinnamon, then cinnamon itself, clove, cumin, oregano, and thyme. So how do we know how much to actually add? And that's where the toothpick, 1 to 2 drops, again, depending on the size of the dish. So with any of those potent type of spices, if it was a dish, say this size, then I would say truly a toothpick, maybe 2 toothpicks, full. I remember the first time I ever used oregano in a dish, it was just like, it was way too overwhelming. I had to learn, like, oh, Kelly, this is not the same as just the dry herbs. But the cool thing is, so you can use some of the citruses to help tame it down, to mild it out. That's really helpful. So citruses are really great for beverages, baked goods, yogurt, dip, salsa, zest. We're about to make some guacamole here in a moment, so you'll get to see. Now, does everybody like cilantro? Yes or no? Okay. Everybody cool with lime? Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a lime, cilantro, guacamole. Let's see if these two go right here. Then spices, the spice oils are really great for vegetables, meat marinades, sweet, savory dishes. Herbs are really great for our Italian dishes. For meat marinades, again, soups, breads, potatoes, pasta, substitute for dry rubs, things like that. Then the florals are great for desserts, tea, baked goods, and we can use them to soften the citrus flavors. So just like the citruses, and actually some of the florals can also soften the mints and the stuff like that. And then the mints are really great for beverages, desserts, salads, certain meats. So let's say you like peppermint, but it just feels a little bit bitey, using spearmint instead, because spearmint is a little bit sweeter of a mint. This spray bottle, for example, is actually peppermint and mint together that I'll use. It has multi-purposes, so it's great for cooling down when in the kitchen. It's great to get little bugs off of my plants, and then it's great to spray on fruit dishes. So it has multiple different purposes.
That's what?
And that's peppermint with spearmint. All right, so now let's do our water again. Now normally, this machine, you don't have to do what I just did, burp it, but I got a defect one, and rather than turning it or returning it, it worked out. I was like, I know how to burp it, do what I need to do, and I was cool with keeping it. All right, let's taste. All right, so there we go. Now we have grapefruit.
What's in the disc that you use for that machine?
Let me look at.
It's okay. You can get the answer later.
Okay.
I'm just curious.
It is clean because you know me. I wanted to make sure, the carbon little canister versus that, you know, it's, I think if I remember correctly, it's the same. I'll let you can look at it and test around. It's carbonator.
I just never heard of it. Right?
It actually doesn't say what's it, but I researched it
Oh,
because I was like,
this is good.
okay.
Yeah.
So, and you can do that. What's super cool is you can do that with any of the citruses, any of the combinations of oils. I've done a lavender lemon. I've done a ginger lemon. You know, and then you've got your own. I've added as many of the spices that go into root beer. So you have fennel, clove, cinnamon. You know, some of the really natural root beers. So I'll look at to see what are all of the different spices. Add those to my bubbly water, and I'll even add some stevia drops, and I've got a faux root beer. Yeah, super cool, super fun. Yeah. All right, so some of the kitchen staples that I have in my house, and these are all super really good for using as a carrier with the oils, is apple cider vinegar, bone broth, avocado oil, olive oil, butter, a clean, good one. If a person is not dairy intolerant, this is the butter that I actually get, which is Kerrygold, because of the fact that it's pure, it's hormone-free, it's grass-fed. You know you're not getting any junk, no grains and stuff like that. Then coconut milk or cream, which the brand that I usually typically get is Native Forest. You can get it as the milk, you can get it as light, you can get it as the cream. Why I like to get the cream is it is thicker, and I can use it to whip up stuff, but then I can also dilute it if I want it to be as a milk. And I always transfer it into a jar. All right, again, the reason why I keep jars. And this jar is actually the paleo mayo that I get since I go through this quite often. It's a really clean mayo. It's made with avocado oil and eggs. So, and there's several different flavors. There's plain, but so kind of giving you a little bit of that to know. I'm gonna bring kombuchas here. Second. Okay, so then some other carrier staples are pink Himalayan salt, mayo, honey, natural sweeteners, things like that, stevia, and all that stuff. So, who wants me to make guacamole first?
Yes, do
Okay. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do guacamole first. What are you grabbing out? Oh, here's a sweet.
Right?
Do you want it?
Especially living in
Texas,
Texas,
right? I'm like savoring.
And I like guacamole.
All right, so we're going to cheat. We are going to use my handy dandy Ninja. Guacamole, when it's like super soft, you can use, one of my tricks is I like using my potato masher. I use my potato masher for a lot of things, but we're going to have fun with the Ninja. Where is that? The knife is here. Right, so this is my compost bin. So some of those trimmings that we're going to do, I'm going to show you how we're going to turn it into with our bone broth. But this technically I wouldn't use it in the bone broth, but the seed itself, the seed itself is high in nutrients, and you can make a tea out of it to get magnesium and other electrolytes and stuff out of it. And I'll start that as a matter of fact. So here, I'm just rinsing off the skin because I don't know it all touched to the rule of thumb, if you've ever heard of the Dirty Dozen Top 15, so that list changes periodically, so keeping up on the list and all that stuff is helpful. But a really cool, so that you don't get into the worrying about what is on which list and all that stuff, the thicker the skin, the less likely it is going to have gone into the fruit or the vegetable itself, so it's a safer choice. things like celery, you definitely want it to be organic. If not, you want to make sure that you wash it with hot water and then rinse it. Because like I juice celery every single morning, and so sometimes the store might not have organic. They might only have regular celery, and I need to get my bunches of celery because I go through a lot. So I just make sure that those mornings, wash them with hot water, so that I can then get all the properties of the salt that's actually in the juice of why I'm juicing. So this spray bottle, again, super versatile. It has On Guard, oregano, and sometimes I'll throw in a little extra of lemon or wild orange, whatever I'm in a flare of, but it always has On Guard and oregano for sure, because oregano kills everything. This cutting board, once upon a time, was starting to grow some mold on the edges, and I just would spray it down every single day to where I ended up not having any grain whatsoever on it. I'd wipe it down, but I don't even have to necessarily wipe it down if I don't want to. So, but what's cool is, again, it can sit on my fruits or vegetables, even if they don't have thick skins, and it won't, bother them. It won't change the flavor to where, you can't do that with regular old household cleaners, right? So that not only cleans for me, disinfects, but it also can be a freshener for my fruits and vegetables. So, and if any of you have never seen this cool trick, so I'm going to just show you how I get rid of seed. So, super cool, super easy. Alright, so with dips, a lot of chips, one, can be full of grains and can be highly inflammatory. So the top inflammatory foods that we want to know are sugar, grains, so any of the grains like oats, rice, bread, things like that, dairy, soy, corn, eggs, peanuts. I had to write down so I inevitably forget something. Legumes, so those are the top 7, which is sugar, grains, dairy, soy, corn, eggs, peanuts. But then, depending on a person's body and what's going on in their health, things like legumes, nuts, and seeds, and nightshades can also be inflammatory to a system. That all can seem super overwhelming, right?
That covers a lot of food.
It does. It covers a lot of food. So what I always encourage people is to cut out the top 3. The top high inflammatory foods are dairy, grains, and sugar, all right? And if you can't do those 3, then pick the one that you really know, it's like your gut knows that it's the one that you need to remove. Remove that for 2-3 weeks, and then remove the next one, and see how you feel, see how you're doing, because it's a journey, right? It's not a sprint, it's a journey. And your body is going to like you better because the detoxing effects of removing all of those initially could be, just uncomfortable, super uncomfortable. All right. So again, and I'll make sure and have links and stuff. And part of the reason for soy, removing it is estrogenic. So for us as women, it adds more estrogen. There's lots of studies behind it and all that stuff. Sugar, grains, and dairy, they spike insulin. Dairy alone can affect skin conditions and stuff like that. And it also affects our estrogen levels and our hormones. But we don't want to fear food, right? We want food to be fun. So just focusing on whole foods, real foods, and being mindful of, let's say you're going to go have a bowl of beans, excuse me, and your body just doesn't, your body lets you know if you're needing something or not needing something. And let's say you're thinking you want beans, but then you go to have some, you're like, it's not really resonating with me. Your body's probably saying, this is not the day to be able to have it. There might be whatever's going on in your immune system. And so the salt's already out. So that's something to be thinking about as well. Okay, we're going to add a drop of lime. See if I can get just one. Luckily the citruses are not overpowering. You see I have 2 avocados, and a drop of lemon, and then 1 drop of cilantro. Now this, I am going to do the toothpick, yeah, because I don't want too much to come out. So what I'll do is I'll do probably 3 toothpicks. Now, if you have droppers, that makes it super handy to where you can get exactly a drop. But since I don't have a dropper on my cilantro, I want to make sure that I get exactly a drop. All right. And I can smell if it's actually there. All right, so then we're going to put a little bit of pink Himalayan salt. And then I still, again, I like the flavor of the pulp of the citrus. So we're going to put a half of each of lime and lemon. All right, so here, the seeds at the top. So this was the avocado seeds. What I usually do is then this is my drinking water. I'll fill up a pot, about the size of a pot, with water, and then I'll let it get to a boil, and then let it simmer for probably usually about 10-15 minutes to help really pull out all the nutrients of it. And then you can sweeten it. You can add some oils to it too if you want to. It has kind of an earthy taste to it. The cool thing is the seed itself gets really super soft. So if you want to like really get crunchy, like super crunchy, you then can dry out that seed or even blend it without drying it out. So you can dry it out, blend it, turn it into a flour to add to dishes and all that stuff, or you can just blend it to be able to put it into smoothies and stuff like that, because it has kind of a nutty flavor that way. And then therefore you're getting all of the amazing antioxidants that are in the seed itself. So that's what's super cool about that. Okay, so we are doing this. Now, the question is, do you guys want this to stay plain, or do you want a little bit of onion in it?
I'm good with onion.
You guys good with onion?
I'm good on it.
Okay. All right.
Pretty flexible.
All that there. Oh,
So right now you're boiling the
I'm boiling the seeds. And so then, so what I always think about whenever I am doing food is when there's something left over, so there was seed left over, right? And there was peeling. The peeling, I can't do anything with. It definitely goes in my compost. The seed, I could do something with it. I turn it into a tea before I then, or I try to plant it, make it super cute. These, I will either use them later for a tea, for water, to be able to use for more water or tea. Pull out the pulp itself. I'll use it, or I can use the zest also with some essential oil. But I try to think of how many steps can I use something before I truly compost it or get rid of it, you know, type of thing. But that's just, again, me, super crunchy. So we're going to add onion. Yes. So part of why I didn't do a lot of things ahead of time was I wanted you ladies to see how easy and fun the kitchen truly can be and how we don't have to complicate things, you know. Just having fresh stuff out and ready and going, and then doing some prep work. Like I usually have a container like this, 2 containers, or I have a longer one that on the weekends I cut up a bunch of veggies, and then therefore we've always got cut up veggies available to either eat just as they are, or to turn into for a soup, a stir fry, or whatever. Chop up more, do whatever. And the cool thing with salsas and sauces is you can like add extra little secret stuff and little hidden things. My lid. Alright. Here's this. So while this is, let's see if it ends up being super loud though. So not too cilantro-y, but like sometimes I'll add fresh cilantro also with it to help bring out the flavor. But I know that it then will, again, it has the therapeutic properties of cilantro. Cilantro is very good in gut cleansing. So that's one of its benefits and all that stuff. So again, by incorporating the oils with our cooking, it allows us to add flavor, have fresh herbs and spices and stuff rather than having to always have our pantry stocked, but we're having therapeutic stuff. So rather than having to always, who wants to, the benefit of cilantro for the gut is super wonderful and awesome, but you don't want to take it straight, right? And you don't want to eat an entire bunch of cilantro the whole entire time, but putting a drop of cilantro in an avocado for a snack is, you're getting the therapeutic property, you're getting the flavor, all that stuff. So before I serve up any of this, I'm going to show you guys some really great options for eating our dips and sauces and stuff with. So we typically think of chips, right? This is a really good grain-free chip. So, so therefore, if you have any inflammatory issues with grains, it's made with cassava flour, avocado oil, coconut flour, chia seeds, and sea salt. Super, super clean. All right. Then there's also, you can get plantain chips. There's lots of different chips that are out there. But what I love doing is cutting carrots to look like chips, cutting all of my vegetables, so even a cucumber, cucumbers, zucchini, anything I might be thinking that I might want to have. Now we're going to go into what would Kelly want to do with the ends of these. So,
Feed it to the chickens.
do what?
Feed it to the chickens.
I had chickens, but I normally actually cut, well, sometimes I cook that, but I stripped a chicken. All right, I have bones. I have apple cider vinegar. So now I have a choice. I can either pressure cook or slow cook my bone broth. Over 24 hours in the slow cooker, we'll pull out all of the nutrients from the bones for true bone broth because you want to have that gel, right? Approximately 2 to 4 hours in the pressure cooker, right? For the sake of not being noisy, we won't do the pressure cooker, but I will start adding my clippings because it's going to pull out nutrients from that and my bones from the chicken that I stripped. Alright, I'm going to add, slippery devil. So about a half of a cup, and I'm really bad about not, I don't measure things. So I'll add about a half of a cup of apple cider vinegar. and what that does is it pulls out the nutrients from the bones. So how you know your bone broth has definitely, that it's bone broth and not just bone stock, is the bones are so soft that they smush in your fingers. That they're so soft that you literally can eat them. And you can actually get nutrients from them that way too. There is now called bone meal, where people are starting to like talk about it a little bit more, and not be considered super weird about grinding up their bones for bone meal. All right, so now these I'm going to put in there. So everything I do what?
Cucumber?
The cucumber and the zucchini. If I had carrot ends, I would throw it in there. So anything that would be super helpful. I actually could have added the onion ends, but I already put it in the compost. Just anything, because what's going to end up happening is when you do the bone broth afterwards, you'll strain it, and so you won't have. So then at that point, now since it would end up being animal and plant protein put together, then I can't compost it, but I can grind it up and use it as a little treat with the dogs to help them get minerals and stuff like that. So that's, again, seeing how many layers of getting as much out of the food as possible. So now we're going to cut up these veggies. All right, Josephine. Fresh spoon. I sure you don't want the spoon that I licked. So then while I'm dishing you up here with this, the top 10 oils, a refresher on those, are your lemon, peppermint, lavender, melaleuca, oregano, Digestzen, frankincense, breathe, deep blue, and On Guard, which is, I think, almost all of you started with those top 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them are super great for in the kitchen. Even just them alone are really great. So using lemon, for example, for coleslaws, for water, vinaigrettes, chicken basil, anything like that. Peppermint is great for teas, chocolate, fruit sprays, avocado salad. I'll tell you about an avocado salad here in a second, because it's super getting distracted. Then lavender is great for chocolate and tea. Melaleuca is great for a throat spray. It also is soothing with On Guard when you're sick and not feeling so great. And Melaleuca doesn't have a super strong flavor in the sense of when you put it in a dish, so like if you put it in a casserole, and especially if it's 350 or less, then it's not gonna have as much evaporating, when you're baking and all that stuff. So you can add it to help boost the support for your immune system, and it not have any flavor really. All right, so I'm gonna add a couple of these chips as well. All right, Josephine, these plates are definitely ready. And then what I'm gonna do is, as you guys discover you want more, we're going to put this out this way. Alright, and if you'll stick this, Josephine, also out that way. Oh, rolling. So, and like with the vegetables, we're about to make a marinade, but you could, brush them with, lemon, basil, or lemon lime, lemon cilantro, whatever you might be in the mood for. Again, that's what's super cool is it's, create your adventure. It doesn't have to be complicated in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so how to not have it go straight. So I started here actually an oil mix. So what this oil mix was from the kale chips that I'm about to bring out and show you guys. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to make kale chips as well. So I put some olive oil, all right, in this cup. And then the mix that I did with the last batch of kale chips was lime and, what did I use? Lime and thyme, I think is what it was. But we're going to do, with this one, lime and cilantro, because I'm just in that kind of a mood. And since it's going to be going in the oven, I'm going to definitely do a full drop and not worry if for some reason a second drop goes in. But I actually got just one full drop. And since this toothpicks, so yeah, you can definitely smell the cilantro, which is super awesome. I love cilantro. Alright, so the wonders of, magic is I'm going to, here we go. So who all likes kale?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to do some kale chips. Alright, Josephine, if you will pass around these for me, please. And then I'm going to put the rest of these in another container. Have them out.
How long do you cook your kale chips?
So what I do is right around 250 for approximately 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours. It just depends on how much humidity is in the air. You definitely want to do it at a lower temperature so that you get that crispness of the kale chips. All right, so here is more kale chips.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's fabulous.
Okay, so whatever pan you like, so this pan actually, on top of it, it's a pizza pan, so I'm going to cover it with a parchment paper. But it also, unfortunately, is aluminum, and so aluminum seeps, and so we don't want to have anything touching aluminum. I'm actually going to be replacing this with a stone one. So using stainless steel cast iron is really good because you're getting iron also, especially if you're iron deficient. It can help make sure that your body is getting the iron it needs. But we're going to use this way. Take a drink. So kale. Here we go. We're going to rinse it off. And again, since it's really leafy, I want to make sure that there's nothing in it that can possibly be an issue. And it's like when you get I get Imperfect Box, but even when you bring home your groceries and all that stuff, what you can do is before you totally put them away is spray them down with lemon or On Guard or whatever to just make sure there's no bacteria or something that could possibly grow on them. And plus it'll preserve them longer. So here, I've got this. I'm going to start my oven at 250. This is boiling pretty good, so I'm going to bring it down low. Alright, this is the cool trick. Is you just pull to be able to get the chips. because you don't want the stem because it's super hard. Now the stem gets to
Oh,
go
there you
into
go.
my bone broth. Yeah. So we're going to pull all of these. All right.
That doesn't hurt your hand.
Do what?
Does that hurt your hand?
No, it actually does not. I know, I was concerned the first time I ever did it. Alright, so then I've got lots of stems for my bone broth. Getting all of the nutrients that are in kale. Serious powerhouse. Alright, so now I've got all this kale, and I'm going to drizzle the oil on it.
And which essential oils did you add?
I added lime and cilantro.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, and then I just start massaging it. I start squeezing it because I want all of the pieces to be saturated in that oil. Spread it out really good. And then I'm going to salt it. And voila, kale chips. 4 hours later, tops.
What temperature do you put it?
250. Yes. So it's not up to temperature yet, but it's not like it's going to hurt it
Right.
being in there because I've got to wait it out anyways. So there are kale chips, and then you can store them in a container if you need to. They tend to not last the day for me. My body really loves me on those days. Actually, it really does because, I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
Great detoxifier.
I mean, they're good. They're really tasty.
Really, and that's the fun thing is you can add, you can play with the different flavors and all that stuff. Haven't quite convinced my family to love kale chips yet, but
And I tell you, they're so expensive to buy.
they really are. Yes, exactly. So here again, you're not only saving yourself money, on making your own kale chips. You saw how super easy it is, and you're adding therapeutic oil, so you can add your own flavors that aren't going to be full of a bunch of chemicals and stuff. Because even the super clean stuff that we get at natural grocers, it still is, or other health food places, it still is going to have additives of some sort, right? And here, you're not having any additives. You get the fullness of the flavor. So the same concept, that oil that I just did, you can do the same type of thing with making vinaigrettes, all right? So, and that's where the cool jars come in handy, like especially the little itty bitty mini, wine bottles or other stuff. You can create vinaigrettes, and then therefore you can store them and you can keep them in there for however long, use them, whatever. These type of containers are really great for going ahead and pre-mixing your dry rubs with your salt and stuff like that, to be able to have the salt. Like, I don't like to have more than this amount at one time because I never know what my flavors might change. Now, remembering that we have, like the seasonals that you can buy, right? And when you look at them, it has thyme, marjoram, rosemary, basil, pepper, all that stuff. You can get all of these oils. So we're going to do exactly that. I'm going to create an all-seasoning oil rub. I'm going to put the oils in first, or salt rub. So here I've got, I'm going to do a drop of rosemary. I'm going to do a drop of marjoram. So rosemary is really good for our brain, for brain health, memory. Marjoram is really good for joint pain, for gut health. Basil is really great for adrenal support. And I'm giving you guys one thing of all of these oils, when each of these oils have so many more properties. But these are things that, really resonate with me because they're important. And I imagine they're probably pretty important to you lovely ladies too. A drop of thyme. Now with this, I will do a full drop of thyme. With this, I will do a full drop of oregano.
Because they'll evaporate on the meat.
Right, because it would end up being used for the meat, but it also, since I'm going to fill it up with salt, it'll also let me know, like, okay, I can go ahead and then dilute it some more if I need to.
Gotcha.
I am going to, sometimes, lemon zest is in those all seasonings, so I'm going to go ahead and add a drop or two of lemon. We won't do cilantro because it's usually not in a seasonal, but black pepper is. And so, and black pepper is really great for circulation, support of that, as well as great for addictions. So like, people sometimes think of the extreme of addictions, but even just having a sweet tooth sometimes can feel just really overwhelming. And black pepper really helps with grounding you on that. So then, I'm going to add a bunch of salt. Let's see if I can do this. I'll leave space just so I can shake it all up. Right, so I can definitely taste the thyme and the oregano. So I want to soften it a little bit, so I'm going to add a little bit more lemon, which normally you want to have the oils on the bottom because it'll shake easier, it won't clump it. But, and then again, it's just, you play with your adventure. Like I might just like cut this some more, later. But let's do, if you will grab me these veggies over there. I'm going to each of these. Perfect. And then you can add that, then we'll put that back. Thank you. Brush this with salt. So like for me, I probably would add another drop of pepper because I like peppery taste. So I'm doing this so that you can taste what the salt tastes like, with the, that one got a little bit much. Okay.
You would use this as a rub?
As a rub, as a seasoned salt, as whatever, yeah. So there's that.
So again, that is very expensive.
Do what?
Buy it all.
Yeah,
Pretty
exactly.
much.
And when you've already got these oils helping you out and supporting you in other ways, why not, see how they can be incorporated with your cooking? Save your pantry from having to have all these stocked up, herbs and spices. So let's see. Where am I at?
Well,
I'm at the time for you lovely ladies.
whatever.
Okay. So let's see, what else was I going to? I can totally geek out with you guys. Keep you guys here all day long. So some other oils that are helpful is turmeric. So really great anti-inflammatory. So we have turmeric, we have black and pink pepper, basil, thyme, cardamom, marjoram, cilantro, lime, all the citruses, most mints, cloves, and cinnamon. So let's see. If there's anything else about that. So we did kale chips, we cut up, we did guacamole, bubbly water. Let's make a mocktail. Who wants a mocktail? Okay, so super fun. There's some really great, so magnesium is super important for our bodies. The brand, so some people like the Calm brand. I used to, but my body does not take to it as well anymore. Magnesium's purpose, or one of its things that is really helpful with, is headaches, right? But if you get a headache from magnesium right afterwards, then either your body is way too low in magnesium or you're not absorbing that particular magnesium very well, and so it's not being as helpful. So the brand, my husband likes this one because it stirs super easy. They do have other flavors. It is really great for making mocktails. But the brand that I really like, that I use for myself and for Josephine, is, again, this is raspberry lemon, just like that is raspberry lemon, and then this one is orange, and there's other flavors too, is the Garden of Life doctor formulated by, and this is why I really like it, is because it's Dr. Perlmutter, who's the brain doctor, all about, you know, how to be able to help restore our brain and help our health of our brain. So it doesn't mix as well or as easy, but we're going to create a shaker bottle. Actually, I'm going to get a larger jar so that we can shake it up, turn it into a cocktail. So let's do a mimosa. How's that sound?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to do a mock mimosa. So we know mimosa is orange juice and champagne, right? So we're going to do a scoop of orange magnesium. And then we're going to add water first, so I can get to start defizzing a little bit. It'll shake it up super easy too. And then we're going to add a drop of tangerine to help with just a little bit of kick. 2 drops. Citruses are a lot more forgiving. I'm going to put a drop or 2 of wild orange, whatever comes out, right? 2 came out. And then there's clementine. There's a lot of different citruses, so you can really have a bang kind of mimosa. All right, so now I'm going to, you see magnesium, it does fizz up. So that's why I'm going to keep it low first initially. Right. So again, magnesium, because our soil is becoming so depleted, our body, it's one of its foundations. You know, in order for our body to absorb the nutrients, we need magnesium. And our bodies are becoming more and more, because of the environment, because of the soil, more magnesium deficient. So a person really cannot go wrong making sure that they're, even if they're not sure if they're magnesium deficient, taking in magnesium, because worst case scenario, you just get a little bit looser stool, so then you know you just back off a little bit on your magnesium. So I'm going to smell it. Oh, tangerine to things are just awesome. Sorry. All right, so then champagne tends to have kind of a bitey taste, right? And it's fizzy and all stuff. And your better champagnes aren't as bitey, but still, it's an acquired type of taste. So different kombuchas are fizzy, right? Well, all kombuchas are fizzy. So again, this is going to be super gut healthy for you. And I'm going to use the lemonade one. So then there's also strawberry, I mean, go to the kombucha section. All right, so my serious guilty pleasure, especially when I'm wanting a real mixed drink, is I get the live cola and mix it with either gin or bourbon or vodka. And just and this is what's super cool, because kombuchas already are fermented, right? They already have kind of you can have that whatever feeling from them, especially if they're really higher content kombuchas. A quarter to a half of a shot versus a full shot really and truly goes a long way in a kombucha, just to be able to get that splash, that kick, that taste, without it really messing with your endocrine system, without it really messing with your liver and all that stuff. And plus, you're helping with the kombucha already cleanse and stuff like that. Not something to do on a regular, everyday basis, but it's fun. We're supposed to have fun with our food, right? And not let it become something that becomes a burden. All right, so now let's actually use these, because we want ice in these. I want to taste first to make sure that I did this good for you guys. Because, if we're going to have a mocktail, we want it to be a good mocktail. One that we're not saying, I really wish you had some champagne in that, Kelly. Oh, yeah. Okay. Just saying. See, is this Elsa, the whole Let It Go?
Rapunzel.
Rapunzel. Oh, this is Rapunzel. Oh. I know my Disney characters.
She takes life by the horns, though.
That's true. Yes, she does. to.
You're
ready?
horrible, yeah.
Oh my gosh. You are adorable. Okay. And then I will put the extra out here so you guys can fight over the extra. All right, so that leaves us. Oh, I was going to make you guys an actual vinaigrette. So a vinaigrette. Throw out. What's a vinaigrette that you like?
I don't normally do vinaigrettes.
I love that look on your face.
I do a raspberry or balsamic or.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the raspberry.
So like vinaigrettes, they're really great for not only using for cooking for our meats. We can use them for our meats. We can use them for our salads. We can use them for so many things, right? So just having it, already available. Now marinades tend to be more concentrated, but it doesn't mean that a vinaigrette can't, be used. So a lot of times, sometimes I'll start out mine super strong so that it can be used as a marinade, but then I'll dilute it for being a vinaigrette, right? So what's sticking out in my head is rosemary lemon chicken. All right, so let's do a rosemary lemon vinaigrette. And we're going to go ahead and put 3 because I want it to be stronger, just in case I'm using this as a marinade as well. I'm going to put, that was about 5 drops of lemon that came spurting out at me. I'm going to use avocado oil. So olive oil is really great for light cooking, for light sauteing and all that stuff, not high heat, not flash heat, for baking, things like that. Avocado oil is definitely your higher, its smoke point is 500. So you can use it at higher temperatures and it not become volatile, not changing and oxidizing, the properties of it. So we're going to go ahead and use avocado oil so that we don't have a problem in case I want to use it as a marinade. Right. And then again, I don't measure anything. It's an adventure is how I look at it. I experience my oils and my food. I'm going to add some black pepper, because black pepper always brings out really great flavor. Put 2 drops of that. And then, let's see, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, just to give a little bit of a punch. Oh, you can really smell black pepper. Okay. And I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of salt because, again, pink Himalayan salt and sea salt both have different types of minerals that are super helpful. It's not the same as table salt. You're not getting anything that's being added to it or unnatural, or table salt can have declumping agents in it. It'll have iodine that has been added, so it's a non-natural form of iodine, whereas seaweed type of, your nori wraps are natural iodine. Your cruciferous vegetables are natural iodine. So yes, our bodies need iodine. Some people don't convert the iodine properly, especially if thyroid conditions and issues. And then you have to definitely, Hashimoto's is one of those especially, that we can actually get overloaded with iodine. Body needs it, but it's not converting it properly, type of thing. So, being mindful of that as well. But this is a guarantee that you're not getting a bad iodine, an unnatural form of iodine. All right, so then I'm going to add a little bit of water. So with this, I now have something I can brush onto things. Saturdays and Sundays are like, you guys are like totally getting me to geek out. I love being in the kitchen. All right, so let's do something that we can brush with our, let's wash.
What do you have there?
I do not remember what this vegetable is. I need to
Oh,
ask.
bok choy.
And I meant to look it up.
Oh, okay.
And
What is it?
bok choy.
Yes, thank you. I was like,
Yeah,
oh
I
my
was looking
goodness.
over there
So this is
going,
a
she
baby,
has
baby
bok
bok
choy.
choy,
Yeah.
rather than your big bok choy. So bok choy, what's super cool about bok choy is it's a cruciferous, so but it's not as strong as your cabbage. So it can kind of have a little bit of a cabbage / celery taste, or even spinach. Like the leaves themselves are lighter in taste, and then the stalk itself tastes a little bit like celery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plate 4 of them, and we're going to talk about all the different ways you can use bok choy. But a lot of people, they think of bok choy as just in like kimchi, in stir fries, but they're really tasty even just raw and plain.
I cut it up and put it in salad.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly.
In
Exactly.
addition to salad.
So, all right, I have my end. I just cut. It gets to go in there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a little bit of this in a little dish so that I can actually brush for you ladies. So there's a brush. Brush. All right, Josephine. I know you're ready. All right, somebody gets to have 2 little ones because my 4th big one was like not very good. All right. So then I've not done anything sweet for you guys yet, so we're gonna do something sweet now. Just super fun. So we can do, you know, fruit salads, different things like that with citruses and mangoes. So I'm gonna get you guys to make a choice now again. You get to choose. Do you want something that has chocolate and bananas and berries, or do you want something more fruity?
Chocolate.
So, all right, so I got chocolate. Everybody else saying something with chocolate? And everybody's cool with bananas?
Mhm.
All right, so I'm going to make this super fast so that you can have it to go. All right. So here, all right, so who, do we like cinnamon?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so this is what we're going to do. So now my carrier oil, because it's fruit, right, is going to be MCT oil. Because, and I want to use this, because MCT oil has no flavor whatsoever, brain boosting. So I'm going to use a little bit of MCT oil, and I'm going to use my cinnamon bark. I'm going to use 2 drops. You can do, it is one of the hotter oils. It is one of the more strong oils. More strong, would you love that? I'm going to mix it all together. Okay. And we are going to grab banana. How many of y'all know to go on the back end?
Right, like the monkeys do.
Yeah, it's so much easier.
Yep.
Again, we know bananas as what? For what?
Potassium. Oh, here.
80% of the potassium is actually here.
That's great for sleep too, right?
Exactly. Because it also has magnesium, potassium. So now we're going to cut up.
You are going to boil that banana peel.
Mhm. And then, you know, you can spend $10 on a bag of banana flour, or you can dry it out after you've used it that way and grind it up and have your own banana flour. And you've got all that good resistant starch. So you see here, I'm like hardly even using the oven or the stovetop, right? And like we could, if we had all day, I could do sauteed green beans and an onion and mushrooms, or we can just make a green bean, mushroom, onion salad and real quick flash it if we wanted to, but it doesn't have to be. You know, we can do everything raw, we can flash, we can have lots of fun. You know, food truly can be fun and simple. It doesn't have to be complicated.
What do you have there? Those chips?
Oh, so these ones are, sorry, Enjoy Life. I usually, well, I get this brand as well as the ones by, do you remember the name of the brand? It's the one made
The
with
first one.
stevia. Thinking. It's made with stevia, so therefore it is definitely keto friendly. But this is dairy free, nut free, all allergen free.
Gotcha.
All right, so that's part of why. So yes, it has a little bit of sugar, but it is a plain, clean cane sugar. I don't know. Yeah, it's cane sugar, and then it's the actual cacao butter and all that stuff. All right, let's make sure we got spoons. Okay, so now we're gonna drizzle. There it is. Let's make sure I use the right one. We're gonna drizzle. Now, yes, these cups are plastic, but you guys are gonna be eating them, you know, pretty super quick. So if you were gonna be storing it in the refrigerator, I would do it in glass or stainless steel. All right. So then, there's one. There's two. Anybody want any berries on theirs?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. So there are the 4, Josephine, that you can pass out.
What essential oil did you put in with the MCT oil?
Cinnamon,
Cinnamon.
yes.
Thank you.
And that was just because for it being a dessert. Avocado actually works well, also depending on what the dessert is. Like I do a chocolate mousse. I haven't done it in a while, but it is actually made with avocados. And so avocados is the base, so it's totally dairy free. Yeah. The first time I ever made it for Josephine, she truly did, I mean, she used to not like avocados, so I had to like try to hide all her greens into her baked goods. And
I think you still do.
sometimes. But you're getting so much better and versatile with open to food. So again, recapping, the oils are always fresh, right? This way, they're therapeutic. The methods are the toothpick method, 1 drop, 2 drops, you know, the spices and herbs, you know, they're going to be either the toothpick to a drop. The citruses are much more forgiving. The florals are much more forgiving with, you know, doing 2 or 3, you know, drops. Again, depending on the size and the volume. Starting out with 1 drop at a time and tasting it, doing smaller batches of things will help you gain in the confidence of using the oils in your food and stuff like that. So the challenge is, you know, rather than thinking about food as our foe, we see food as our friend, how it can truly help us be, you know, healing and supportive for our system. And so I want you to think about what is the one food that you know you would like to eliminate, and how can you replace it with something else that's super tasty. You know, there's the Whole30. I don't know if any of you heard of the Whole30, and what its whole challenge and purpose is to get us to start seeing the fun in fruits and vegetables, in whole food, of knowing that everything here was freshly cut up, put together, and it was tasty, right? And it was fun, and it really didn't, you know, I created, other than a meat dish, and other than, but all the different little things I created, we did it in, really and truly, by the time we got started, a little over an hour. So, and like all this stuff will stay out because I'll continue to chop throughout the day. I will make tomatillo salsa. Oh, you're fine.
Nice to meet you.
Not a problem. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. So, you know, I'll make tomatillo salsa with some of the stuff that we have out here. I'll go ahead and make a bean and mushroom and onion salad. so that, let's say, after a couple of days, we're tired of it as a salad. I can then throw it in the oven, or I can throw it in a pan, saute it, flash it up. Instead of bread, a lot of times I use, for me anyways, I use cabbage wraps. I use other lettuces for wraps, the nori, the seaweed wraps. There are some really good gluten-free choices as well, and grain-free choices. But I like to look at as what is the value, even in some of the gluten-free choices. They're made with another flour, another, something that is it going to have value. So if it has more cassava flour or coconut flour, then it does have some good value and property. But if it's primarily rice-based or other flours, I think, what is the nutritional value going to give me? Because also once we refine it, because even with coconut flour, it's been refined, right? So it's yes, a better choice. It's quality, it's healthier, but I try to use it minimally. I try to see what can I create, with whole food, So, any questions?
Woo! Great, yeah.
You guys are awesome.